Hey everybody, this is Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Out of the Park Baseball 21 playthrough with the Cubs. I've simmed ahead through all the offseason rewards and arbitration, and we're now at the first day of free agency. And so what I'd like to do this episode is I'll start out going over the awards for this 2021 season, and then I'll go over, my any moves I may have made through the arbitration period, and then we'll get to free agency and maybe make some offers. There's some good and bad about that, but I'll let you know when we get to that point. I'm starting to feel like the Cubs curse is in this Out of the Park 21. Remember the old one before they finally won the World Series? It looks like this is just getting harder and harder to turn this team around. But first off, let me go ahead and look at the off-season, end-of-season awards. Starting with, when it comes up here in the mail, I'll probably start with the, let's see, we'll take a look at the Fielders Gold Glove Award winners, American League. I guess it's interesting that Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, they win this thing like in this playthrough and the one I've got going with the Phillies, which is I think the 2025 season. I'm around the 2025 season. Those two guys have been winning quite a bit of them, so that's good. Matt Chapman is just an amazing defensive third baseman in real life, and the way he's rated here, he's probably getting most of his wins. He's 3.6, 3.4 wins above replacement, and averaging almost 4 for these last 4 seasons. It's probably majority of that is coming from his defensive side. I thought Byron Buxton, that was kind of interesting to see him get that award, and for Minnesota. On the National League side, no Cubs. We did see, though, Bader and Betts at St. Louis. Real Muto, who is in this playthrough, he signed with the Cardinals as a free agent. He's looking really good. Relievers of the year, James Karinchak for Cleveland. 30 saves, didn't lead the league in saves, but a 1.65 ERA, 106 strikeouts in 49 innings. This guy has 3 very good, almost dominant pitches, dominant stuff, 80 out of 80. I don't know how he's going to pan out. Sometimes these guys explode after a few seasons, especially with that control. But I don't know if I've seen K per 9 innings rating that high in the game. I mean, he had some not a lot of innings, but look at these minor league seasons here. 17 innings at 2019. I guess that was before he got called up. 42 strikeouts in 17 innings. That's crazy. But then in the National League, went to Junior Fernandez. Incredible year for him. One of the best closer years I've seen. Not in terms of saves, but 39 saves, no losses, which is pretty cool. A .45 earned run average. 3.7 wins above replacement, and once again another guy with a lot of highly rated pitches and stuff. 103 Ks in just under 60 innings. Amazing. Again, his personality ratings are pretty tough, but very little loyalty, and he may not be a great teammate, but man, his ratings and numbers look good. Silver Slugger. I guess, it's nice to see that Vladimir Guerrero, he's turning into the kind of player that he was hyped to be in Out of the Park 21. Mike Trout still winning awards. Austin Meadows had a great year for Tampa Bay. National League, once again, no Cubs. I stand corrected. Yu Darvish won it for the Cubs. That's the only time he's ever won the Silver Slugger, but not a big sample size, but his numbers weren't too bad. 250 average, 375 I guess on base. Is that what that is? Let me double check. So 686 OPS, not bad. But he was the only Cub. Some good performances here from Soto, Bellinger, of course. Mike Moustakas had a great year at Cincinnati. Willie Castro, who I may have pointed him out before, he was picked up in a trade with Detroit. This is a great player. I like his numbers and ratings. I wish I had him on my team, really. He's got also a fan favorite personality rating that really means a lot. Rookies of the year, Jared Kelenic, great season for Seattle. No doubt that he was going to get it. And then in the National League, of course, no Cubs, but Alexi Montanez, a pretty decent season from him as well. I don't know if this guy was an international. Yeah, it looks like he may have been an independent league signing, and pretty decent first year for him. I like those walk totals. So 25 years old. He's going to be a good player. Cash won the American League Skipper of the Year award again. Girardi won in Philadelphia. So 2 years into Philadelphia, 102 win season. Great to see that from him. And then Cy Young, American League with Shane Bieber. He had a great season. 20 wins, 2.90 ERA, led the league in WHIP, homers per 9, 6.8 wins above replacement. Great season for him. Garrett Cole finished second. And National League, no Cubs again, but Caleb Smith was kind of a surprise for me. I didn't see this one coming. Just a 2.5 star pitcher. Probably not going to duplicate this, but he had a lot of strikeouts, 226, a 262 earned run average, 5 wins above replacement. I thought Buehler, who led the league in wins above replacement and strikeouts, and had 18 wins, 5 more wins. I think he should have gotten it, honestly. But Nola Rodriguez, which, I find it interesting that Rodriguez, in my Phillies playthrough, he's had a pretty decent run as well. I couldn't afford to keep the guy, but man, it makes me wonder. If even at a 3 star, is this guy worth it? Really? I mean, he might be. Mike Trout won the MVP, just a monster year from Trout. I think this probably the season he had in Out of the Park 21 for first season 2021, best numbers, better than any numbers he's put together in real life by a long margin, and 159 walks. That's impressive to me. 10.8 wins above replacement too. Lindor, Meadows, Guerrero round that out, and then Bellinger, no question he was going to get it. Led in home runs, RBIs, 9.9 wins above replacement. So that's his third year in a row winning the MVP. And Willie Castro, the guy I was talking about, he was runner-up. Several Phillies got the nod or got some votes, but no Cubs. That's just going to be something we're going to have to get used to. So now I did go ahead and make some moves already. In personnel, one that I have been talking about probably the last episode, I had a hitting coach rated as fair, and hitting is where we struggled last year. I don't know if it's going to tell us our history. I don't know if it's going to keep those. Yeah, it does. So you can see hitting was where we definitely struggled. Our pitching held its own for the most part. So bullpen, a little bit better than the starters. I would like to have a better starting rotation. But I jumped the gun and ate the salary of my former hitting coach. I thought it was that important, and got a guy who's got a great rating, even though he's neutral, which means I don't know what kind of development influence he's going to have. But he's coming off 2 very good seasons with Boston. I'm not sure why they didn't keep him, but I'm glad to pick him up. I'm hoping that he right away helps us in helps our offensive numbers for next year. In terms of, I'll go to the transactions log here. So in terms of the arbitration, I kept a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys here, just automatic renewal. So I think we do have quite a bit of an advantage in terms of salaries right now. It's definitely, we've eliminated a lot of those high-end contracts. The 3 guys I did sign through arbitration: Caratini, the catcher; Austin Adams, that closer I picked up in a trade last season; and Ian Happ. They all went for about what the arbitration estimate was going to be, so that was great to see. And where that put us is we are in a great position for free agents. $89 million. Incredible. I don't know if I've had a team that had that much money going into the free agency in a long time. It's been I usually play conservatively anyway, as I've probably said several times before. But another thing is I always play outside of Philadelphia. I really favor taking on a smaller market team and trying to turn them around or build a dynasty with them. And so it's very rare that I see that kind of a budget, $242 million. But here's where the curse is going to come in. We need offense. We have tons of money. And wait for it. This is the free agency that we're looking for, or that we're looking at. Couple decent, one good and one decent starting pitcher, a few good relievers, and that's it. And then the batters, nothing. Basically, I mean, you're looking at 3 stars is where it all tops out at, and really at positions where I feel like we're probably stronger than, I don't think our outfield is really where we need too much help offensively. I think Happ, he's for the most part locked in at center. I traded for Hazley last year. I really think the way he played, even though he's 2.5 stars, I think this guy can start. He's good defensively. He can really start left field for sure. Brennan Davis, right field prospect, and even Hayward looked decent last year. I mean, my problem is I don't have a shortstop. Right now I've got Clement there, who's, he's a bench player. I traded for him, by the way, let me see what I did. Yeah, I traded for him with Albert Almora Jr. because Albert Almora, you can see 8.4 is what he went for in arbitration this year. I just thought that was too high. I mean, a couple seasons ago, he was an all-star on the team. Last year, he was in negative 1.1 wins above replacement. There's no way I wanted to pay him that much money. So this is a guy who I'm kind of, I'm using a little bit of both playthroughs to guide me here. So this may not be great strategy, but I picked this guy up as well in my Phillies playthrough, and he's turned into be a great bench player. He's got great contact and avoiding Ks, good speed, can play those 2 positions really well. He could possibly be the starter at shortstop, but I think he's going to be better as a bench player. And especially, he hasn't had a full season yet in the majors. But, I've got Segura, who's pretty good. I really need some help. I would say third base, I'll leave Segura there, but I would think second and short is where I need some help. Horner has been, I don't know. I mean, 2019, that September call-up, he looked good. 2020, I let him start half the season, and he had some good moments. Last year, once again, he was another negative wins above replacement player. So I'm really hesitant to rely on him for the full-time starter at second. What do we got? We got really not much coming up in the minors either. So going back to free agency, offensively, I just don't like any of those outfielders enough. Maybe Azuna, but I think left field, he's only rated at left field. I think I can deal with Happ one more season. So that leaves Ramos. I mean, he's a good defensive second or shortstop for sure. I think he's going to be better than Story. I mean, I know Story's got good power. He's rated pretty good defensively here, but he's going to strike out a lot. I just don't like that kind of a player. Really, a lot of power, low contact, high strikeouts. I typically don't like playing that way, so I'm gonna see what kind of offers I can give Rojas here. $6.5 million. That's not too bad. I might be willing to go 3 years. Oh man, he's wanting 6 years. Let's see if he'll take 4 years with a vesting option. Like 300 plate appearances, maybe. That would be, I think, generous. Let me see what he would say. Yeah, he'll accept that. Now, going back to my prospects, Morel here in Double A, he's not really that great of a shortstop prospect. I don't have anybody at High A. Another Morel down here in Midwest League, Single A. He might develop, but I don't really think his ratings are all that great either. So it's possible, unless I have to wind up picking up another one in trade. I mean, a guy like, even though I don't want to go 4 years, Rojas could potentially keep the job for 4 years. I don't. That's how poor our minor league system is right now. But I think he would definitely be an upgrade at the moment for us anyway. And then let me go back to this pitching staff because I think it's kind of interesting now what we're looking at. So Darvish signed for 2 more years, and he's honestly not played that poorly. I mean, last year was a pretty decent year for him, so he's going to be locked in. Honeywell, I still like this guy's potential, but he wasn't outstanding last year for us. Didn't look as good for us as he did for Tampa Bay, and already his stuff is not looking as sharp as it did when I traded for him. And then Hendricks, I'm kind of saddled with him for 2 more years. I don't think I will probably go beyond that team option. So we got some money there tied up with Darvish and Hendricks. Patterson, I'm hoping that he might have a chance. Same with Corey Abbott. Corey Abbott was, at one point, he won Rookie of the Month. So he's playing probably better than his ratings. And I don't expect him to be a long-term solution. So even though pitching was our strongest department, last year, I think that's where the best free agents are. And so Kimbrel, who was actually with us for a while before we traded him, don't want to go 11.5 for him, but what I'm really thinking here is, $39 million. I mean, Syndergaard, I wouldn't mind having, but I cannot see paying $40 million for him. I mean, that's just. I mean, we definitely have the money. We're not going to have the money any other year, I don't think. Lance McCullers, he's wanting $21 million, and he's not. I don't like his personality ratings, and I just don't think he would be a good mix for us. So it's Syndergaard really or nothing. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just start playing around with it. I'm going to see if he'd do 6 years at $32 million. See what that, as a starting off point, see what that gets us. And I'll use it for all, and I'll give him a player opt-out for that. And let's see what he says. We're close. Man. Let's go 6 years again, and let's say $35 million. well, not that it matters. 35. Now let's go 35, 500. And let's see what he says about that. Okay, so it sounds reasonable. So, yeah, that's a lot of money, but in 2 seasons, I'm going to be saving over $30 million just from Hendricks and Darvish moving on. And also the 20-something million plus I'll be saving when gosh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting names here. But I'm submitting that offer when Hayward, sorry. Long day. When Hayward goes. I mean, Hayward's still got 2 more years, and I'm going to eat that contract. So that takes care of the 2 big signings, I guess you'd say. But now let's go back to pitchers one more time and see if there's a decent reliever. I was underwhelmed by Kelly last year, so I don't want to go with him again. And this is an international free agent. $6.5 million wouldn't be too bad. I just don't know if he's going to be as good as his ratings show. And it's against righties that he's so good. And let me see if I can offer him. He's just 28. Let me say 3 years at 5.5 with the player option. All right, he's going to at least talk about the offer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and sim ahead to when the winter meetings start. I've also already done the Hall of Fame voting. And I will come back when we get to the winter meetings, I'll come back. All right. Okay, back to the action here. We're up to the winter meetings, start of the winter meetings. I had to up the contract. I figured I would with Syndergaard. So now we're looking at $6 million or 6 years, $231 million. With that last year being a player option. I think it's something like $38 million a year. And at the moment, I'm in competition with Los Angeles. Now, one of the things I see a lot that happens with this game when it comes to free agency, you can't be surprised if you go hard for a guy like this, a top tier free agent, maybe the best. You might go after the best free agent available in the offseason. You may give him everything you can possibly give him, and they wind up signing with another team for a much lower offer. So I'm not crossing my fingers on this one, but I have tied up more money than I wanted to, but I think it's worth it at this point. Now, Rojas, the shortstop, favors my offer, and as does the relief pitcher, the international free agent. So what I need to do now is take a look at the trading, see who's available, offensively primarily. And so we got a catcher. Freddie Galvis is available. I'm not sold on him. I would much rather have Rojas, simply because I love his personality and his defense, but his batting ratings aren't that high. So I'm not really seeing a whole lot here, offensively to trade. I need a shortstop. I could take a second baseman even, but Galvis is the best one. And back to free agency, second baseman there, I mean, it really looks to me like Rojas is the best available. Starlin Castro, especially since I picked up, he's got some good ratings offensively, but especially since I picked up Clement. I think Clement in a pinch could even start if I need him to. And he might even get the starting nod over Horner, because Horner he's going to have to really, I think, impress me a little bit in spring training. So I'm not going to trade anything right now. So I'm just going to go ahead, jump up to the Rule 5 draft. We might, and there it was. So we got the big guy. We got Syndergaard. We're giving up a 3rd round draft pick, but I'm okay with that. I think this guy is really going to help us in that starting rotation for sure. And fan interest increased quite a bit. And then we also got Nishioka here, who I imagine is going to be a good setup option for now. He might even be closer if I need him. And looks like the media is pretty high on him. So let me just take a look at what that does to our man. That really did put the interest and loyalty up there. So if I look at salaries now, like I say, this doesn't really bother me too much. $38.6 million. But for the next 2 years with the budget that we have, we can manage that. And then you go into the 3rd year, 2024, we're going to have money again, provided that Syndergaard's still the ace that I need him to be. We can start, going back into free agency if we need to then. I'm hoping that I don't want to spend too much of what I got this year, because I'm really hoping that next year is going to be a better we don't have much coming up in free agency either. I'm hoping next year is going to be a better year in terms of the talent out there offensively. It just wasn't there this year. So now we got Rojas, the last one I need to sign. I'm going to put these guys on the roster. I got a spot for them there. Probably need to send Mills down, because I don't think at the moment he's going to, although he did have a good season. Man, he is so hard to figure out. I can't do anything with that. But one of these guys have got to go down to make room for Rojas if I sign him. But let's go ahead and sim ahead until we get to the Rule 5 draft. And I'm going to take a look real quick at the draft pool and see if there's anybody there that has some potential. And right away on the batting side, I see Jacob Amaya. He's just not ready for the majors. Really not ready. So just look at batters one more time with my scout. I'm not seeing anything that makes me want to use that spot, that roster spot for something. Now this Nova here intrigues me, because I think the way he's rated, and I've seen last season in some playthroughs, he's got potential to have a good career. But I like his speed too for a third baseman. But I've got Segura, and Segura, I know he's not going to be signed long term. He's got this year and a team option. Wow. Nova is an interesting pick for me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 12 here. I need 13. And like I say, I don't have anybody really in my farm system. Certainly not waiting in AAA or AA to come up. So I don't feel confident that Short's going to be a good backup. I really don't like his contact rating. So it could be that, I'm sorry, I'm not looking there. I want to look at the draft pool. I may make a try for Nova. And then worst case scenario, he's young. He's just going to be 22 next year, coming off a great season at AA. Relative to international, he's just a 3-star. I mean, it would be a gamble, I know. Let me just see what my scout even thinks about him. Modest production once he fully develops. I guess I'm going to have to give it some thought. But right now, I'll probably end the episode here, but we did get the pitching in much better shape. That's incredible. Now that I look at this, so I can go right away, Syndergaard, put him in that top spot, and that might push Patterson out of there. But for now, I'll just put it with Honeywell. So we would have Syndergaard, Darvish, Hendricks, who is a modest, at best, mid-rotation guy, I know, but with his control maybe and stamina, maybe he's got enough to give me double digits in wins. And then hope that, Honeywell and Patterson can develop, and even Corey Abbott, hope he can develop. So I'm going to put him in as the 6. I'm usually going with a 6-man rotation in the spring anyway, so I'll put him in there. That looks a lot better. I mean, can we win with that pitching staff alone? I'm not 100% sure, but we might, with just that staff, we might have a good chance of hitting 500, a winning record anyway. And then on the lineup side, I feel like last year was really an aberration. And that I might be wrong about that, but I feel like now that we got this better hitting coach with this lineup, I think some of these guys will be better. I think Happ will play closer to his ratings next year. I think Horner, even though I've been down on him, his ratings are good, but I think with Horner or Clement, I think we're going to be pretty set at second. May want to pick up one more outfielder. So that's what I'm going to look at. Rule 5, I didn't see anything, but offline here, I'm going to hope that I get Rojas. I'm going to keep working on him. I think he's going to be worth it, especially, we've still got some money left. I mean, we could go $1 million or $2 million more a year if we had to for him, and I'm willing to do it at this point too. I want to make that signing of Syndergaard worth it, so I don't want to just be too cheap for the rest of the free agency. But going to get Rojas signed, look at a backup outfielder, if not a starter, but I'm probably going to be looking at with the way free agency was, it's more than likely going to be just a backup type, bench type player. But somebody like Mazzara, if he wasn't only a right fielder, he's wanting way too much money. But Tommy Pham, I'm looking for somebody who can play 3 positions and give me a good defense and then decent offense. That's probably how I'll prioritize it. But as always, thanks for watching and supporting the channel. Hope you like it. I'm still determined to turn this Cubs team into a winner, but this has been tough. I can't, even though I'm only 2 seasons into it. It's been a while since I've really felt like it's just such a struggle to build a winning team. I usually see more light at the tunnel, I would say, 2 seasons in than I'm seeing with this team. However, that Syndergaard, that signing makes me feel a lot better about it. So next episode, we'll be starting out spring training. I'll finish up the off season, and we'll get going. And hopefully next year will be the year we can start turning it around. Thanks for watching.